next week.
This is John May, General Manager of Petrale Roofing, up on another customer's roof doing a free 21-point inspection. If you'd like us to take a look at your roof, give us a call today, 719-375-8773. We'd be happy to take a look and see the condition of your roof. Petrale Roofing, we're a Diamond certified TAMCO installer, which means we can offer a industry-leading 25-year workmanship warranty to give you peace of mind in the storm. Call Petrale Roofing, 719-375-8773. Schedule your free inspection today.
Crew, it is beautiful in the Peaks to Plains weather backyard. I've got my American Classic coffee. I'm on the Sequoia roast. It is Friday morning. A cool front has moved through the area. There's a little bit of a breeze back here in the backyard provided by F&B Landscaping and Hydrix Colorado Tree Farm Nursery, and it is a good start to the day. You are on Mornings with Meister, and we do this every Monday through Friday morning from 6:30 until we need to be done. So thanks for starting your day with me here, as behind the cold front, things are going to be a little bit different today. In fact, we do have a chance of some thunderstorms that might be right in the eastern slopes of the mountains. So a flash flood watch has been issued for the afternoon and evening for the Aspen Acres burn. Those of you that have had a rough week in and near the burn area, we do have another chance of dealing with some flooding today. I really hope that isn't the case, but it is a possibility. On a little bit of a larger scale, behind the cold front, we pushed some moisture up against the hills here today, and we are dealing with at least a chance of a kind of low-end severe storm or two. Wind gusts around 60 are a possibility. and one or two of the storms might rotate because we've got enough wind shear in the atmosphere that'll help them organize enough that we could see some hail maybe around 1 inch in diameter. So that's kind of what we're looking at here ahead of a quieter weekend. And, you know, then we see things kind of change up as we move into early next week, because there's another cold front on the way. So there's definitely some stuff to talk about, and we will do that coming up here in just a little bit. Susan is checking in from Palmer Lake this morning. She's always doing that. She says she's enjoying her American Classic coffee too. Susan, I don't know what roast you have, but I hope it is delicious. They are all fantastic. That's one of the things that I like about them very much. Let's talk about what's happening outside this morning behind the cold front that has come into the area. East of the mountains, it is a little bit breezy out there early this morning. We've got some wind out of the north running between about 5 and 15 miles per hour for a lot of areas. It feels really good because of that. I'm experiencing that here in the Peaks to Plains weather backyard early this morning. We'll switch that around sort of out of the northeast as we head into the afternoon, even an easterly component for the back part of the day, and that's what helps to bring in the wind shear. We're mixing the atmosphere up enough that we're actually a little bit warmer than yesterday east of the mountains. Over some of the mountains, a couple of us are a little bit cooler than yesterday, and that's because we are starting to see some drier air come into the region. With the breezes over the plains, we're running around 70 or a little bit below that in most spots. Mountain areas, we're seeing some 40s show up, and that's certainly a sign that there's less water in the air from the monsoon, and that is going to dry us out here. Over the mountains today, once you get to the west of the eastern slopes, that's confusing, to the west of the eastern slopes. But that's right, that drier air spreads over the rest of the region as we head into the weekend. Outside in Monument, it's 61 this morning. We have some neighborhoods that aren't seeing some breezes, some other spots that are a little bit breezier. Just kind of depends on if you're down on a creek or if you're up on a hillside. But a lot of us are seeing sun out there this morning. We had a couple of showers over the eastern plains as the front was coming in early this morning. Some of those just to the south of Trinidad right now, so a couple of us may have heard some thunder during the overnight. Pueblo, we are one of the warmer spots as we sit at 71 this morning with quite a bit of sunshine around. Let's jump into the short-term forecast here and get you set for the afternoon, because it is going to be a little bit of a different day, as I said. And on the large scale, notice that we don't have a lot of clouds off to our west over Utah or Wyoming like we've seen during the mornings this week, and that's because some of the drier air is starting to come into the area. The high is also starting to shift. It is moving west across New Mexico this morning as a ridge builds over the Great Basin, and that is what is going to change the flow aloft this weekend and help to bring in some drier air. It's also what is going to push the storms off to the southeast today, and some of the strongest storms may move kind of south-southeast due to the fact that they will be rotating a little bit. So you can see we had a couple of storms around yesterday. We did get a severe thunderstorm warning in Baca County during the evening, and then a couple of showers early this morning, and those thunderstorms I was talking about moving off of Fisher's Peak State Park early this morning into northern New Mexico over the Raton Mesa, but those are on the way out of here. Behind the front, low-level moisture. That's what's going to drive our storms today, and that is what is really going to help us kind of be active a little bit later on. So let me show you the showers and the thunderstorms here. You can see where the high is starting to shift to the west. If your eye is focusing on the circulation, you can kind of notice that across New Mexico, and it keeps moving off to the west here, and that's what brings in the steering flow that kind of changes things up today. So while there's northwest flow aloft, there's northeast or east flow at the surface, and so combined with the fuel available with the low-level moisture behind the front, pushing that up against the hills and being able to use that energy and the wind shear helping the storms to organize a little bit is why I think a couple of the storms are going to be strong. So we hit the afternoon, and here's how things are going to play out. Now, I don't want you to get hung up on the specifics of where this version of Skycast is or isn't developing storms specifically on the north to south, but pay attention on kind of the east to west, because it's firing up storms along the eastern slopes of the mountains and then keeping them along the interstate. And when they get too far east of the interstate, they start to collapse. That's because there's a little bit of a cap out over the far eastern plains once you get away from the higher terrain today, and that's what could help to bring us some gusty wind around 60 miles per hour. But up against the hills and the interstate, we might see one or two of the storms produce some hail around an inch in diameter. Like I said, also moderate to heavy rain with these storms is something we should expect. There also might be a couple of rounds of them today. You can see Skycast is picking up on an evening round, kind of developing over the eastern slopes of Pikes Peak and the southern slopes of the Palmer Divide. That's a combination. It's picking up on outflow from the first round of storms, and also that the wind will start switching around more to the southeast, kind of pushing that low-level moisture into the big bowl of the Colorado Springs metro area. Can't guarantee that'll happen. Certainly a possibility. I mean, outflow boundaries, once they get going, you've seen that before. You've heard me talk about that. Those are kind of a wild card. They're like mini cold fronts. But just be aware that once we hit the early part of the afternoon through the middle evening, a chance of storms out there today. And again, might get one or two kind of active along the eastern slopes of the Wet Mountains where the Aspen Acres fire is. That's why we have the flash flood watch that's up. We get into the weekend and things start to change. After the slightly cooler day today behind the cold front, we don't change too much tomorrow, maybe warm up a degree or two. But with storms, we certainly change things up because we're bringing in that drier air from the northwest. And so the best chance of a storm or two on Saturday will be over the southern Sangre de Cristos and then the mountains off to the southwest of Alamosa. And so a lot quieter of a day for southern Colorado, a trend that continues into the back part of the weekend as well. And then we'll be quiet on Monday, start to get hot again ahead of a cold front that comes in for next week. I'll talk about the extended forecast when we come back. Take a short break here on Peaks to Plains Weather. This is Mornings with Meister on this just stunning Friday morning.
Emergencies are unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
Employee pricing is over, but at Phil Long Ford in Motor City, American value still means something. Colorado's best season, Phil Long's biggest discounts of the year, 0% financing, no payments for 90 days. And I'll throw $1,000 towards your down payment. Plus, get a complimentary 2-year premium maintenance plan.
That's the Phil Long way.
We'll beat any deal by $750, and we'll prove it only at the original Ford store in Motor City.
For over 20 years, my family, like so many of you, has proudly been part of Broncos country.
Every season, we feel the energy, passion, and commitment that defines this team.
And now we are honored to be the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos.
Ramos Law. What makes us different makes us better.
Locally owned Empire Roofing and Restoration has been repairing southern Colorado for over 30 years, and it's not just roofing. We'll repair and remodel almost anything, including siding, decks, garages, and more. Call Empire Roofing and Restoration for a free estimate.
All right, the extended forecast has a couple of interesting things in it. August is still, it's kind of the back half of the monsoon is kind of how I usually look at it. As you move through July, it gets more and more likely. Typically, the front half of August, it's still around, and then we start to see it sort of decrease a little bit. But given where we are with the El Nino, the fact that it continues to strengthen, it's already strong, we may keep it around into parts of September. Did another post on that. You could find that on YouTube. I'll put it back on the Peaks to Plains Weather 24-hour channel over the weekend because there are signs like maybe into mid-September we're still dealing with the monsoon. Let's break down our extended forecast here, and I'm going to start us off with the water vapor because it helps to see where the drier air is. Notice all the browns coming in over the western U.S. We are already starting to push the monsoon off to the south. So when we get the storms today, that's not what it is. It's the low-level moisture behind the cold front. And you can see where the driest of the air is, and there's more of it off to our west, and we'll kind of rotate that around the building high pressure as we head through the weekend. The system over the central United States that's got the swirl with it is what's been sending the cold front southward this morning. And that is going to drop our numbers a little bit for today, as I said. But see how it's hot over the desert southwest? We're going to grab that air, kind of pull it around the high into Colorado. So Sunday and Monday look like our hottest days, and I think we get back into the triple digits over the plains. Not as hot as it was last weekend, not as humid as it was last weekend either, but certainly feeling toasty here for Sunday into Monday ahead of the next cold front. So by tomorrow, you can see the circulation off to our west here, and I'll point it out to you. It's these black lines that you see here out across the southwest. So the high's kind of in the vicinity of Las Vegas, maybe around Lake Havasu, Bullhead City, Arizona, kind of, you know, right on the Arizona, Nevada, and California line. And that's what's bringing the drier air in. You can see shunting the moisture from the monsoon off to the south and really breaking up the tap of the moisture that we've had around here for the last week or so. There is a wave in the upper levels of the atmosphere that is moving across the northern Rockies. That's the one that sends the cold front in early next week. And by the time that happens, it opens the door for thunderstorms a little bit. It'll increase low-level moisture. It'll certainly drop the temperatures, probably about 15 degrees between Monday and Tuesday. You will notice that. And then it also opens the door for the high to start shifting in a way where we start to reestablish the tap of the monsoon. And so I think we get some storms back in the forecast over the mountain areas, and at least a day or two where we catch some of them along the Front Range and perhaps over the eastern plains as well. So you see the numbers bumping up in a big way. Colorado Springs, I think we get pretty hot around here as we hit Sunday and Monday. Might be in the vicinity of some records. We'll talk about that over the weekend, but mid to maybe upper 90s. That'll be pretty dang toasty. And then we get a noticeable drop back into the low 80s for Tuesday. So it's a pretty solid cold front that's on the way. And we'll start to notice that here as we head through August. These fronts might have a little more oomph with them as we begin the process of heading toward fall. A couple days of some thunderstorms, and then maybe a little bit of a drying trend as we head toward next weekend and beyond, as the monsoon kind of establishes over western Colorado and Utah maybe for the middle part of August. So Woodland Park, we dry out. We may catch a storm today. Most of them might be a little bit to the east of us. We'll have to see. Northern slopes of Pikes Peak might be the ignition point for a storm or two, though. And then over the weekend we get warmer. We're in the 80s, cool back next week with storms back into the forecast. Some of those, again, could produce some heavy rain, so that's something that we'll keep an eye on, particularly our burn scars around here. As you know, we've seen what that can do, not just over the Aspen Acres fire, but the Gold Mountain fire outside of Uray had a pretty significant flooding event this week as well. And then Pueblo, after being in the 100s for a couple of days, will knock the numbers back. About 15 degrees, like I said, behind that cold front. We may end up with an afternoon or two of the chance of some thunderstorms as well. So that's a look at our forecast on this Friday as we head into the weekend. And, you know, it's some changes. I got a little bit of something for everybody. If you're a storm lover, got those today for you. The chance lingering early next week behind the front, and then some dry days as well. So I hope you have a fantastic day. Hope saying thanks, Matt. We appreciate it. Kathleen is saying, can't wait for fall. My favorite time of year. You know, coming up, September, I think, has some of our best weather of the year. Then you get into October, can still be a real good stretch, but you start to watch for the chance of some of those early season storms, which I'll tell you what, the El Nino makes a couple of strong storms a little more likely into this winter. So that's something to think about. But certainly those transitions, you can get some whiplash with some real nice stuff, and then boom, a little dose of reality, maybe with some early season snow. I think we'd all take that after the winter we had last year. That's it for me this morning, my friends. Have a fantastic day. We'll be here through the afternoon and evening watching any storms that become severe. Keep the Peaks to Plains weather app handy today. Keep your location turned on. Make sure you tell some friends and neighbors about that. Like if they don't have the Peaks to Plains weather app yet, they need to get it. Helps, we'll give you a little digital shoulder tap and kind of let you know what's going on. Have a fantastic Friday. Thanks for being with me here on Mornings with Meister. It's a beautiful morning in the backyard. Again, it's made possible by F&B Landscaping and Hydrix Colorado Tree Farm Nursery. They work together on a lot of projects, some really good people, locally owned, and should support locally owned businesses when you can. Speaking of, thanks for supporting Peaks to Plains Weather, our weather together.
We don't know what the weather is going to be like around here. I do get really anxious during storms.
That's why they chose HailGuard. When performance leads, confidence follows. Backed by the first and only asphalt shingle system with a hail warranty.
That just gives us more peace of mind.
This is the only asphalt product on the market that has the manufacturer warranty targeting the hail damage, and it gives me a lot of confidence as a contractor.
Engineered for enhanced impact performance. Built to protect homes and reputations. HailGuard shingles. Built for hail.